close to knocking off the Rams in the divisional round. Here's Caleb Williams, who made some changes this offseason.
Lost some weight, so it's good. I'm excited about that. Be able to move a little bit better, be smoother. All these different things. Just being able to also bring that into the facility with the strength staff and things like that. Things I've done, things that work well with me, and being able to adjust and be better for the season.
How much did you lose?
10 to 15, something like that.
How'd you do it?
Eating at certain times, going to bed and not eating after 7, and just eating consistently, eating well.
Sounds so simple, Caleb. Thank you. So Caleb Williams lost a little bit of weight. He's really I read somewhere that him and Ben Johnson sat down and went through every single incompletion from a year ago. But nonetheless, I think we all know who I believe is the best quarterback in the NFC North. Jordan, who do you think is the best quarterback in the NFC North?
I just love that every offseason it's about who lost 10 or 15 pounds and how it's going to make them so much better. I love the fact that it feels like Caleb's a little more focused. The preparation's there. I think there wasn't distractions in the offseason, not that I expected that. But you feel like a guy that's really focused going into year 2 with Ben Johnson. Jordan Love's the best quarterback in the NFC North. And I think he's been overlooked and underappreciated for a number of years. And if you look at some of their struggles, especially last year, their receiving core was a mess. Not only has he been a victim of the most drops by far in the last couple of years, and I hate using that stat, so I'm going to move on from it after I say that, but Christian Watson missed 7 games. Jaden Reed missed 10 games. Matthew Golden, their first-round draft pick, was a rookie. He's going to have a much bigger role. Tucker Kraft is a guy that missed a couple games as well. Up to that point, they were the number 1 duo in the entire NFL from a passer rating to a target perspective. Jordan Love did more with less and with more chaos around him than I think anybody in that division.
The question is, who is the best quarterback in the NFC North, not who will be. Because based on what he's done so far, there's no argument that Jordan Love's resume is better than that of Jared Goff nor Caleb Williams. Jordan Love, in the games he has started for the Green Bay Packers in each of the last 3 years, the team has won 9 games in each of the last 3 years in games he has started. That's misleading to some extent. I understand that. Injuries for him and for others, Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft, etc. He has never won a division. Let me repeat that. He has never won a division as a starting quarterback. Jared Goff has been to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff for the Lions. But for the Lions, been to the playoffs twice, 2-2 in the playoffs, 2 division titles. Jordan Love is 1-3 in the playoffs with the Green Bay Packers, no division titles. Caleb did more last year in terms of division titles than Jordan Love has up until this point. So if the question is who is currently, you can choose between Jared Goff and Caleb Williams. You can project Jordan Love, but not based on accomplishments thus far. Not based on what he's done. If Shea said who is going to be.
But how did Goff do last year?
Okay, but I can't bring up Aiden Hutchinson's injuries in the years past.
I agree, but I'm saying that almost sounds like kind of like what I was saying is who was good or what problems did their roster have. I'm just saying I think a lot of the shade or overlooking Jordan Love is because of the pieces around him. I think he had 3rd highest EPA in the NFL last year. And he was so efficient despite what was around him. So I get what you're saying. Goff has accomplished more. Caleb has accomplished more as far as what he did last year.
Yeah.
But I still think it's Love right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Caleb Williams. I don't think there's a quarterback in the NFC North that has more horsepower than him. Look at the 4th down impossible throw to Rome Odunze in the Packers game. Yes. Look at the throw that he made against the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs to Cole Kmet on the 4th down. This guy makes unbelievable plays look routine. But I think he needs to make the routine plays look routine. Yeah. And in year 1, you could see Ben Johnson really broke him down and started from the bottom in terms of trying to build him back up. If Caleb Williams can hit more of the layup throws, then I think it won't be a question at season's end who the best quarterback in that division is. But from an accomplishment standpoint, there are already things on Caleb Williams' resume that Jordan Love just doesn't have.
And now he's got to build on that.
Back with some eye candy, guys. Feast your eyes on Matthew Stafford, mid-season form. No-look pass. Devontae Adams yesterday in training camp. Hawk, give me the breakdown on this throw right here.
This is what makes Matt Stafford both so great and frustrating to play against, because he's at the age where all of his talent is still there, But the game is just so easy to him. He does this all the
just
time. He'll do this in the most
chance of winning.
high-stakes playoff game.
1%.
And this is why he's so confident, because he does it in
Basketball
practice
isn't
as
played
well.
on a
I hope
spreadsheet.
it comes through the
What the
TV
Knicks
as well
pulled
as it
off
did.
on
If
Wednesday
you're
night
watching the
wasn't just
video at home and you actually
unbelievable,
sort of make it
it was
bigger on your
supposed to
phone,
be
you can see that he's
impossible.
staring down whoever's on the right side and then just fires a dart down the middle of the field.
I will say, Hawk, though, if you're Devontae Adams, you don't want to see that ball that high over the middle. 53 right there. If there were pads on, that might have been a bad collision. But the no-look passes are ridiculous.
Look, the Rams are the kind of favorite, the stuff that we very seldom see in the NFL these days, Shefty, right? I mean, the NFL is not a this team or the league or the field kind of league, but that's the kind of hype that surrounds the Rams right now, especially if Aaron Donald really does decide to come and play.
Well, listen, if we go back to last year, you can make an argument that they might have been the best team in the league last season. There was the play in Seattle on Thursday Night Football that Zach Charbonnet recovered.
Yeah, this play.
The 2-point conversion in the end zone by accident, picking up the ball, not even realizing that he swung the balance of power in the NFC from LA to Seattle with that one recovery. Because Seattle won that game, won the division, got home field, narrowly beat the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And if this play doesn't happen, then maybe it doesn't go down that way. And maybe the Rams don't go into the offseason as motivated as they were when they trade for Trent McDuffie, when they signed Jalen Watkins, when they trade for Myles Garrett. That play fueled their offseason. And the offseason made what was a great team even better to now we all look at them. And I had one coach joke the other day, hey, there's the Rams and there's the 31 other teams trying to keep up with them.
Sort of feels that way sometimes. So you try and figure out who it is in the NFC that might be able to keep pace. Well, maybe at least on the offensive side of the ball, one of those teams could be the Dallas Cowboys. They opened up their training camp in Oxnard, California. They're optimistic about the season ahead. The team adding pieces on the defensive side of the ball, which they desperately needed. And, of course, putting the franchise tag on George Pickens to keep what could be a very explosive offense together. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer had extremely high praise for Pickens. Give a listen to this.
He was as dialed in meetings as I've seen him since he's been here. Just following along, questions. I think you're going to see a very motivated George Pickens going into the season, and I think that's great news for us and maybe bad news for the rest of the league.
It's an interesting thing that they're talking about, and Dak is talking about championships, and he's wearing that shirt and all that. The Cowboys are saying it with their chest, if you will, a little bit before the season starts. The owner always does. He's always got a ton of things to say, and we had some fun with his comments yesterday. But the players, and particularly the leader, the quarterback, feel like they believe they have a chance to do something special this year.
Yeah, I think there's excitement. I think there's excitement that George Pickens is maybe as motivated as we've ever seen him. That was kind of the question mark, right? With the franchise tag, he was a little disgruntled, wanted a new contract. The tag happens. Who are you going to get between the ears? You got a guy that I think is extremely motivated. You pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. I think you got the most dynamic wide receiver duo in the NFL. Dak's always going to put up big numbers. So this offense gives it a lot of hope.
Well, how about that, the Pickens of it all? I think this is a situation where, and we've been critical of the Cowboys at times, sometimes for some of the ways they've manipulated the roster. I think they did this exactly right. And Jerry Jones said it the other day. How would you like to be him next offseason as a free agent?
That's why he's motivated.
If you wind up putting together another year like the one you did last year, he'll become one of the highest, if not the highest paid receivers in football. They set it up for that perfectly. They're willing to live with however that thing plays out. Shefty, you're looking at me funny.
Well, that is right. The Cowboys played it the right way. And you could make the argument that they're pushing buttons and trying to motivate George Pickens. But you also could look at it the other way. When we get into November, December, if George Pickens has got a nagging shoulder injury, if he's got a nagging hand, is he going to fight through that when he's weeks away from free agency? I don't know the answer to that. But there have been players who have approached it in different ways, and we'll see how he handles it. When he's healthy, when he's on the field, he's as talented as any receiver in the league, and the Cowboys think they've played this the right way. And if they're right, then it's going to be a dynamic combination, and they're going to have a